Good evening and welcome to the February 1st Board of Selectmen's meeting. If everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And thank you. We have no public hearings this evening. Any announcements from the board? Sensing none. Additions, deletions to the agenda. Okay. So we have two appointments tonight. Mr. Smith from RHR Smith is talking about our audit. So, Ron, step up to the microphone now.
Good evening. So it's about 2 months earlier than we saw you guys last year, so there's some improvement for sure in the conversation. So, everybody get what we had sent out for like a short, the pages I kind of pulled out to do this presentation?
Yes.
So,
you don't have the electronic. I do not. Yeah, they didn't got it today.
I'll hit the highlights of it if you want to give it to them.
I think you've got one copy. I just sent a minute ago.
So your financial condition stayed about the same of where it was from FY21 back to FY20. What's that mean? You had about a $3 million carryover balance in 20. You had the same thing in FY21. So to talk about the numbers, of real importance is your crisis fund that you have. It's in your charter that you maintain, and kind of your unassigned fund balance. And your crisis fund, what your charter says is that you'll maintain, I believe it's 1/12 of your current operating budget, no less than, in a crisis fund. And to put that in terms for Waterboro, it's a little over $1.3 million. Okay? So we've committed out of that $3 million, $1,316,000, which is a little bit higher than what it was last year because your budget was higher, obviously. So that's $1,316,000 that you have in that crisis fund. You also have unassigned funds in addition to that of about $525,000 that's not attached to anything. So to put that into to words, you're about $1.9 million of money that's not committed for anything going into the FY22. I believe you use $800,000 again to balance your FY22 budget.
Yeah.
So in addition to that, 1.9 million, you got another $800,000. That you use, that you set aside to lower your tax rate for FY22 that you're in. And then we've got a bunch of committed funds for, just carryovers and capital projects that you've got in the tune of about another $500,000, and that'll do you all the math to about the $3 million of carryover balance that you've got, which will show in the audit report. Where do we want to see it? No less than that 1/12, obviously, is where your charter, dictates that you be. We actually like to tell all the municipalities, and we do a boatload in the state, we want to see them at about 60 days. So that'd be 2/12. So what's that mean when you take your unassigned fund balance and take your crisis fund and add it together? You come up with about $1,850,000. Where 60 days is going to be a little north of that. It's going to be about $2.1 million. You're somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 shy, depending on your budget year, what that number is. Good news is that's the best you've been in probably the past two or 3 years. So remember, your charter says that you can keep 1/12 into that crisis fund. The problem, and that's what you do. You have control. I can't go any less. Problem is, and we've been talking about this a little while ago, between the two things that you can actually control, and that's your unassigned fund balance and that crisis fund, still leaves you a little bit shy, about 10 days shy of that 30-day benchmark. So one of the things to do, is certainly look at it going forward to see if you can get up closer to that 60 days, and absent, of a charter change from the 1/12 and going higher than that, which I actually believe you've got the discretion to do. Remember, it says no less, doesn't say you can't have more. you're really, the big piece of this conversation is your unassigned fund balance of 525, your crisis fund of $1,316,000. Those are the two numbers that are getting you closer to, that 60 days. You're about 10 days shy of it. So put it in Waterboro terms, $400,000 to $500,000. Good news is, best we've seen you in a while. And you kept the tax rate stable and lowered it, to the tune of using that $800,000 in 21. The good news is in 2021, you didn't need all that $800,000. You only used $200,000. So your outside service fees for rescue, code enforcement, that was a big thing. But the real big thing for Waterboro in 21, you returned about $400,000 of expenses back to the bottom line. So that's why you mitigated that $800,000 that you used for 21 budget relief. You didn't need it all. You only needed $200 of the $800. So that's why your fund balance. That's why you were able to think about it. If you would have needed that $800,000 in 21, and say 22 ends and you need that $800,000, that number goes down $1.6 million. And the concern is, that's right about your plateau of where you want your crisis fund. And that's why I think your 22 budget, 23 budget that you're probably starting to get knee deep, if not knee deep in now, that's the one you really want to pay attention to, because if you use any of that $800,000, you're probably going to be just north of what your crisis fund number is, and you're going to dip into that unassigned fund balance again, to the point where, any bad year could take you below your crisis fund balance. So, and that actually is a charter violation. And you've actually got to go read that statement, because I think you need a plan, to put that money back, and and it talks about how you do it. I think it can't be any more than like 3 years. This is actually a process you got to go through to put.
You got to repay it.
What's that? You got to repay
internally.
Exactly. You set that floor, and I'll tell you, if you would have used that whole $800,000 in 21, and what you're going to use for 22, which is why 22 is where you really want to pay attention. Boy, you're going to get really down to that floor, and then you're going to have to pay it back with a plan. So that's what your charter states.
You okay, Dennis, if I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So don't dip into those funds this year to do the same thing we did this year.
You used 821.
Yeah.
You only needed 200. So therefore, your fund balance is gone by 200. If for some reason 22 is a bad year, for whatever happens between now and the next 5 months, and you got to use more, that 525 is going to shrink now, because we got to keep 1.3-ish million dollars in there for that 112. So that 525 was 700 last year. So now that's gone down, and if we use any more of that, we expect to use 800. The good news is we didn't have to use it. You expect to use any more than that, that's now bringing you down to your minimum balance for your crisis fund. That's a minimum balance.
And that's minimum based on the charter, not the 2/12s that most.
No, we're recommending 2/12s.
Yeah.
And actually, you go read that provision on there. There's nothing that prohibits the town of Waterboro from getting the 2/12s. You've got to keep 1/12 at a minimum. So what would you do, Ron, if you were sitting in our chairs? As you do your 23 budget, let's kind of make an assessment of where you're going to land on FY22 and how much of that $800,000 that you're going to use again this year. If not all, I don't think it's going to be all. All the words in right now. We're actually prognosticating 22 year ends for municipalities and school districts right now. We've yet to see a municipality really dip into that, that undesignated fund balance that they use for tax stabilization. But regardless, I'd be staying out in front of that one before you go to your voters, for your 23 budget, because you're getting down there. You're going to get down there. So, and believe it or not, on a $16 million budget, if that goes down even at the same pace as it did last year, that's $300,000 extra. And that's not a lot in the grand scheme of things. So. That's the thing that we see. Financially, still rock solid. I don't want you to hear me say nonetheless, but, there's some warnings going up here. As we come out of this pandemic, I don't think it's ever going to look the same as when we started this. There's some things that we're seeing out there that would probably say, make sure you pay attention to this. And I think your 23 budget's going to be one of those ones you're going to have to look at hard. And maybe rethink using $800,000 again next year. I'm not sure it's going to be there for you guys. Good news is, we got a stimulus package passed in November. So, roads, bridges, culverts, things like that in the municipalities, the ARPA funds was the last thing that came through. And how much do you guys get for ARPA funds?
We've got 4 something.
Yeah, you got half of it. Like any municipality, you get the other half like soon. They say soon. There's another stimulus package, and it's called the Make America Great, the infrastructure package. And the Make America Great, I think, is what's being voted on now. You're going to see some other stimulus money coming your way, into this state for infrastructure, roads, bridges, culverts, things like that. Certainly first responders, so be on the lookout, for the states getting, this notification from the feds that the bill passed like late November, and I think it got signed into law before Christmas, so I'd say over the next 60 days, you'll start hearing about that bill, and that's good news for the world of government.
Yeah, that's the infrastructure bill that was passed, right?
Yeah, and that's great news for you guys, great news for everybody. So I don't think you're going to see any of that money this year, but that certainly might, depending on the details being released between now and the time you pass your budget, certainly might give you a little bit of flavor, on what we got, any big infrastructure projects, any capital projects lined up, that money's going to be there for you guys. That might definitely impact your budget for sure. No, might, it will. So even if it's $100,000, that's $100,000. That's about the state of the financial, shape of you guys. Just going back to probably the fall, and I sat in the room and kind of talked about the state of the books and some of the concerns that we had last year and whether or not we had any this year. The answer is yes. There's still some struggles in your town office to keep the bank reconciliations up to date and to keep the taxes balanced. We certainly see that. I believe the last time that you guys, engaged us for our assistance, we brought your books up through June 30, 2021 with the help of your people. I believe it's through September of 21 now. I don't know where they're at right now, but I think they're probably behind, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're behind. I think that the concern is how do you fix that going forward? Because you can't continue to operate like that. So I think that probably some accounting support, some help. We talked last year about some outside intervention, and some of the other issues. I know that there's talk about here in Waterboro for accounting and like human resource support. I definitely think that that's a great idea, and I'm all a fan of that accounting support and getting some of, that kind of expertise in here because you really need it. And I think that, that's still an area, and with the bank reconciliations, cash is king. You don't want to fall behind with that. But some of the other things is really kind of getting your finance people together, between your treasurer, your tax collector, your excise tax person, your clerks, really getting them all on the same page, because some of them have different statutory responsibilities depending, what hat that they wear. But at the end of the day, it's your guys' responsibility to make sure that those books are reconciled. And I think getting that as accounting support, everything with this audit that we saw coming up through for the short window that we looked at in 21, there's a definite need here in this town still.
So is everything reconciled up to date now?
No, it's all in the budget and everything else that you've had me. No, we're still where we just stated.
So September?
At least 3 months behind.
Yeah.
And if that means cash is 3 months behind, so is everything else. And that's the concern. And with this world of automation, ACHs and everything like that, missing some of that, trying to, really kind of navigate. And the good news is financially you're in great shape. You've got a boatload of cash, but, if you were starving, it's a pretty tough situation to know, whether or not you got enough money to get you through until that next tax obligation is paid.
That recap that you just gave us, is that in writing somewhere?
So this is in writing. So you've got that. So that's in writing. There'll be a management letter that'll come just as soon. We got a couple of things that we're working through with the draft. They just got that for the whole product. Like this morning, I pulled the excerpts out. So you'll get something in writing like you did last year, and it'll look a lot like it did last year.
And you all have what he sent earlier. I just sent it to you.
You just sent it?
Yeah, I just got it.
So that'll confirm pretty much this conversation that we just talked about financially. We'll do the same as we did last year, send you a recap, and the expectation is it'll look a lot the same as it did last year. So, good news is we stayed out in front of it, and Matt working with you all, Julie and Christina and all that. I mean, we're 2 months ahead, more than that than where we were last year, and definitely your books still behind though in totality coming up through September, and that's a concern.
So should we get them to touch base with us again? You want to come back in and do another spot check?
I think probably the best thing to do, is it'd be easy to finish up the 21 audit. There was very few you'll see, loose ends needed. There were more note disclosures. Probably do some kind of a preliminary audit, maybe at the same time to save you guys some money. Look into the crystal ball and where you may land on 6/30/22. As you guys go into budget season, so we can get closer to what that number is.
Okay.
I would want to know that if I were you all.
Let's connect then, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah. And the good news is we're not making up, 15 months like we did last year. The good news is we're going to make up, what, 4 months probably by the time we're here. So improvement, but still time to get some help.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I think when we look at revenues, we're still in good shape. There wasn't a lot of,
Yeah.
we ended last year with about the same
Yeah.
tax burden overdue taxes that we had, and I don't.
Your collection was actually pretty good
Yeah,
last year.
so I don't see that.
Revenue, we don't see being an issue. We don't see it having a revenue problem, and really where I think you're going to make it up, the really X factors expenses. How much, where are you going to come in line and budget? Because last year you were 400,000 under. Where's that going to land? The concern is that we're seeing some of the municipalities right around you. That's not the case this year. They're getting closer and tighter to budget, and if that's the case, how much of that money are you going to end up using of that 800 in FY22? So that's the number I'd really be interested in.
Yeah.
We're 56% expended right now.
Yeah, so that just tells me that halfway through the year, you're a little over halfway, actually 3/4. That for 6 months, 7 months. In the year.
7 months.
So that's good. That's a good thing, but you want to stay that way. That's that number. You need to stay that way. I guess that's probably the way to say it. You need to stay. You need to hit those margins.
Good to know.
I'll be in touch.
Perfect.
All right.
Any questions of me?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody, take care.
Thank you.
Take care of
Thanks,
yourself.
Ron.
Yeah. That's all.
Moving right along.
That's good.
Mr. Gilpatrick.
Got a whole pocket full of
Another file?
It's pretty quick. I'm here once again to request the board's permission to move forward with legal action in two violations. The first is map 16, lot 19B. This is a violation that's been going on since I came here. The first violation notice was received July 7th I'm sorry, this one is actually from back when Glenn was here. July 7th of 2020 was the first violation sent.
Which road?
Excuse me?
The road.
The road would be Secocas Ave.
Oh, right on Main Street.
Yeah.
Oh, fine.
Yeah, and I sent in, sorry for the confusion there, but I also sent a violation in July of 2021 when I first came here. So the first one was in July of 2020 that Glenn had cited. When he found it, then it went a total year with stagnant because of COVID and so forth. And then when I came here, I noticed it was a long outstanding pending violation. So I sent a notice in July 7th of 2021. Then the second notice in August 4th of 2021. And I sent another follow-up notice the 20th of December.
Response?
The August 4th, I received a response, and the individual was playing the transition of the code office. That was the feeling that I got. And he said, well, when I spoke to Glenn way back, he said to do this and do that, and unfortunately there was no outcome from any of that. So at this point, I'd like the board's permission to move forward with the violation. It's for a building in the shoreline zone that doesn't meet setbacks.
That was the next question.
I'll make a motion to do it,
Second.
given all your,
Anybody need any further discussion? Not?
No.
All those in favor of authorizing Mike to move forward?
I have one question.
I'm sorry?
It's a building in the shoreline zone that doesn't meet the setback from the water?
I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I have a bunch of scribbles here. This is an unpermitted building and an unpermitted use. I spoke incorrectly. Please allow me to start. Okay. The first notice was July 7th. This was I had two violations. I kind of split them up here confusingly. The first one is an unpermitted structure. As I said, they're both are unpermitted structures. The first notice was sent on July 7th and again on August 4th, but there was some conversation. We had this particular violation, we had a conversation in a meeting with Lee J, stating that the individual, because there's also a use violation, stating that the individual would come to the planning board and come into compliance, then would give me the authority to grant his permit for that particular usage. And once again, we went all the way through the process, and I hadn't heard anything, and in December of the 20th, I sent a follow-up letter asking for their reply, asking for them to come in and meet with us. And I had no reply at that point. Very simple.
my motion is still the same.
As
We
is my
grant the
second.
code enforcement to do what needs to be done.
Still second.
Any other questions? Sensing none, all those in favor? Opposed?
Okay, the second violation, I already gave some background about. That was the one where Mr. Charette was involved.
Okay. So that's the shoreline zoning?
That's the shoreline zone, yes. Thank you for asking that question, Mike. I would have got that all completely confused. That is the shoreline violation. The tax map and lot number for that is 11-1. And map, yes, map 11, lot 1. That is the shoreline violation. And as I said, there was an April 7th on 2020. First violation, second violation was sent by myself April 27th on 2021. Another violation letter was sent on June the 22nd. This one we had some difficulty in service. So two of the warnings, two of the violations were hand delivered with photos from on the front door. Then we resent the second notice of violation in November. This was received at the end of December. The sheriff's office, the sheriff's department served that notice in the second violation.
Of 22.
Of 22,
Um,
yes.
21 rather, not 22.
21, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He replied on 1/3 of 22,
yeah.
stating that this individual had obtained counsel.
So move that our code enforcement do what he's got to do to take care of the violation.
I'll second that.
Any questions,
Yeah,
comments?
pretty cut and dry.
We've discussed this one before, right?
We have, yeah.
All those in favor? Okay, go ahead, do what you gotta do.
Okay.
Any more?
Yes, sir.
But wait, there's more. He's an infomercial.
Sorry, and this is how I got so confused.
That's where you get the crop.
The last time I was here, you had authorized me to move forward with another violation that was a major shoreline violation. We have
For the trees.
for the trees, yes. Yep. We have since had, they had also obtained counsel. We had a meeting here last week with our town attorney, his attorney, the violator, and the head of shoreline zoning, Jeff Kalinich, and myself. The result of that meeting is this consent agreement. I just want to pass it out real quick because you folks should see this. This is a draft. This has been sent to the violator's attorney for review. We have been advised from our town attorney to hold on your next selectmen's meeting is to enter in a public hearing for the abutters, the direct abutters, to come in.
Do you mean it's
One thing,
Okay.
First, we have to hold some sort of hearing for the abutters so that they can obviously weigh in on this consent agreement. This consent agreement will be posted in my office for pickup for any of the abutters that are interested. We also have sent them letters to, as long as it's okay with the board, we can send them all letters out notifying them that if they would like to weigh in on the parameters of this consent agreement, to come to the meeting on the, what's it, 25th? 15th. I'm ahead of myself, excuse me. And with that being said, also Mr. McCall, who is filling in for Natalie, in this particular violation, has asked that we have a short executive session so that the board is up to speed with this consent agreement before we enter into the public hearing.
So if I read this correctly, they're going to pay $3,600 to the town for our legal fees. That's not negotiable.
Correct.
However, the fine is negotiable.
Correct. If they pay, if they come into compliance within the period of time allotted, I think it's the 15th, June 15th or something like that. If their revegetation plan has been received in a timely manner and they get their plantings done.
So I wouldn't support that. I live in the shoreline zone.
I understand your opinion, Mike.
That's something they can cut trees down if they just pay the town's legal fees, $3,700.
Well, when you get a little further into the consent agreement, you'll see that he's also made some other pretty substantial violations. That's an awful lot of work to get done by June 15th. But I agree with you. I think that's giving them an easy out, and we're setting bad precedents.
Did we agree to this yet?
No.
Okay.
No, this is
No,
a
this
draft.
is information
Okay.
at this point.
It just becomes, it becomes an example case of, if you cut your trees down and you get your vegetation in time, all you gotta do is pay the town's legal fees. This sets a precedent on the shoreline zoning that if you want it bad enough, it costs you $5,000. And that's a talk on the lake too. So if you want it bad enough, it's gonna cost you $5,000. So I'm not saying that that's our bad, it's just that's how this happens. So what do we get? We get clear-cut lots on the lake. And then our property values all end up going down at some point because no vegetation on the lake. And then we have destruction of the water in the lake, the most pristine resource in this town. I'll argue for it every day like that. And there's no penalty. So if you've got the cash, take your income tax check and cut your trees down.
Does he have an occupancy permit
This
for
particular.
for this particular project?
Yes,
already?
it was this property was developed back in '05, 5 or
Okay,
6.
so we'll waive
There's
that.
this particular code file is like 3 to 4 inches thick. It's, and this is, in my eyes, I would say that he's habitual, this particular property.
So we
So
would,
all you're asking for is for us to hold a public hearing and
Yep.
a
And then-
executive session.
And then we'll have the
Yeah.
executive session to discuss the agreement, and I will certainly contact the attorney and express your opinion on this, Mike. I don't know how the remainder of the board feels, and I personally agree with Mike.
Well, this isn't the first time that, you know, the DEP has been involved in multiple ones. I mean, we had the one on, up the East Shore Road thing that got, somebody came in and just tore everything up, and it was a $10,000 fine, and ultimately he got what he wanted, right? So, it was 10 grand, right?
Right.
And that was the recommendation by the DEP at that time, right? So, I guess that's 15 years ago or 14 years ago.
Right. Mr. Kalinich, he has only held the position 3 to 4 years, and he's very stringent. He can be very, when you see the revegetation plan that we're asking for, I think you'll,
That's in here?
no, it's, they sent us an as-built, that's one of the conditions of this
That's the
consent
one.
agreement.
Is that the one that's gotta be stepped down?
No,
No, they were just, yeah.
no, it's, there was a number of cutting and so forth, and, they did some filling to try to displace the stumps, to try to blend them in, and put nice grass in, and a couple of pressure-treated retaining walls, and the DEP is asking that all of that be removed, restore it to the original grade, put in, on that particular lot, it was covered with what we call a duff layer, a woodland duff layer. This leads back into what Mike had referenced about protecting the lake and slowing the nutrients and stuff down, or any contaminants down before it enters the water. That duff layer is pretty much the lake's #1 protection. So they're going to they're asked to cover their entire lot with the exception of a 6-foot meandering path with their sediment erosion control mulch. And then they'll be asked to plant 15 trees. To this point, this particular violation, he's planted probably 15 to 20 trees and a bunch of shrubs and a bunch of these. He's made an effort to replant, but it was not within the guidelines. It's pretty much what his wife's favorite flowers and some small shrubs and arborvitaes and and shoreline zoning states that it needs to be a native species. So this is the repercussion. This is why this is taken all summer long. So it's when I bring to the executive session, I'll also have the revegetation plan that we have on hand at the time, the one that was declined. I'll bring that and put that on
I'd
the table.
like to see that before I comment any further, but yeah, I'm good.
It's pretty significant. It'll happen.
thank you.
That's all I have at this point.
So-
Unless you have more.
So we need an executive session with legal counsel,
Yeah.
and then a public hearing that would address acceptance of the proposed
Revegetation plan.
Half hour enough for if we had it at 5:30 with the town council and then public hearing at 6?
I would think so. It's more along the lines of how many more questions that you folks have and how much you'd like to go through before we enter discussion with the public.
Well, it might be multiple public hearings before we're done.
And it may be, yes, yeah, absolutely. This has been a very contentious violation. I have a file of emails that is probably 3/4 of thick from abutters as well, so the public hearing will take some time.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
Well, we
Thank you.
might,
Thanks,
the other
Mike.
thing is we may want to do it on an odd Tuesday night, just that one thing too.
And that's,
If you're expecting a long public hearing, we can do that, Dennis, on an odd odd week rather than,
You do have another public hearing on the 15th.
Which
Or,
is,
The,
Park ordinance, right?
yeah, park ordinance.
that won't take long.
Parking?
Park.
No,
no,
park.
the
Basis.
The one that keeps the ice shacks
Oh, yeah.
storage.
By the middle of next week, I'll probably have a very good idea of what the attendance for the public hearing will be, so maybe we can touch base at that point. And
Right.
how are we making it on Secocas Trail, the new structure that was
foundation?
foundation over the setbacks? I see that
Did he
they're
cut
still
the-
building on that.
Did he cut the
No.
foundation?
creative surveying. The individual in question approached the abutter
Okay.
and purchased a large enough piece
Still
to
has to be
accommodate the
small.
setback.
Okay.
So that kind
He
of,
fixed it.
so, yeah,
Yeah, he
he
fixed it on
fixed
his
it.
own.
Yep, so he now complies and he's moving
I
along.
just happened to see him the other day building on it, and I said, I wonder how the heck it turned out, so.
Just a little background, I think it cost that gentleman probably $5,000 to $6,000 in mold remediation because of the stop work order. Because he couldn't put a roof on it at that point, because he'd already gone beyond the point where he should have, when he poured the foundation, he should have got his foundation certification, and he would have known then immediately. Instead, he started to build, and
Yes, sir.
so it cost him probably $5,000 extra on that particular, just for that.
Okay, Mike, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
All right, brings us to item 6, public comment for anything that is not on the agenda this evening. I see you shuffling paperwork back
Yes.
there, so.
I don't want to keep a lot of your time, but we do have some information for you in regards to Friendship Park and the project going forward. So you have a mission statement, and I won't go, I know, I don't want to take all your time, there's a lot of information here. I devised a map of kind of what we'd already talked about. A lot of this has already been started with Pete. I found out on Friday that he was his last day when I brought in information for him. So this is kind of a rundown. You guys can look at it if you're interested in another time. But I mean, this is kind of what we've talked about in just cleaning up the park. We've been very busy, and it's going to be amazing. But we need to make sure that we have the support of all of you, as well as the community. We've worked. We're going to be reaching out to like local once the trees come down, then we can get the excavation work done. The stumps need to come out. We need to bring in some gravel. I mean, you come off the Route 5 and you just drop down. And I know Pete had gotten a paving estimate, and it was like $71,000, which obviously will never happen for that park, which is fine. But we need to fix what's there. So as you can see, we're adding some picnic tables. The new sign and the benches. We've ordered some solar lights, the buddy bench, the large ship, which is coming from the Hillview Mini Barns. We just ordered that. It was $7,000. We've raised enough for that. We raised almost $5,000 with our calendar raffle that we did for the month of December. Plus, the Heritage Company has given us $2,500, which I brought here. We're still doing the bottle drive. We're doing a St. Patty's Day bash at the Eagles Club on March 19th. We're going to be having a community cleanup day at the park. I'm not sure exactly what the day. We'll have to wait until the snow is gone. We've reached out to the Massachusetts High School trying to get the kids involved with designing something with the art department with the seniors. Possibly putting a mural on the front of the dugout that faces Route 5. Something like with play ball, something colorful, trying to bring some life into this park that needs it. And maybe letting the kids vote on it in the community and seeing what works for them and kind of making it fun, you know. I've heard a lot, like with the, when they had the Festival of Trees here in Waterboro, I heard more people say, I think you were there, it's just nice to see the community involved. And then this past week on this What's Up in Waterboro site, I mean, everything that's been going on at the M.R.S.A Basic High School, everybody's like, the kids have lost the sight of the community, you know, nobody cares, this and that. Well, this is an option for people to start caring. Also, the high school community service for any seniors that need some, we're going to help them with some service hours because we can definitely use some help getting it cleaned up and ready to go. So I've listed all of our to-dos and our needs. It's here. I haven't been able to get out there to do some measurements. Pete and I were supposed to have done that, but that isn't happening. So I've left you guys some information. Maybe we can come back in a couple of weeks and I can narrow it down to what we're going to need for money going forward. Obviously, we can't raise all the funds. I know, Michael, when we were there one day walking around, you said that there was some money that could be used towards the park. So I'm hoping a big chunk of, would be some of the excavation. So I'm going to reach out to some of the companies in town here to see if, they'll, help us out with some of that, either donate their time. They don't all have to do it all at once. Just like, with Marcus donating to bring the trees down. I've been in contact with him. He's still going to do it. He just needs to get a crane to help him do it, to get that done. But he's still on board and he still wants to do it.
Yeah, I think Pete Smith had said that there was about $16,000
Yeah.
that they hadn't expended over this past summer and fall in the parks.
Some of that's got to be for the fencing up here to go build a park.
Yeah, maybe,
To
possibly.
keep.
So,
Wooden fence.
my only caution, right, is it is town property. So, those assets that are being, or those funds that are being spent, I know some of them have been donated, right? So, we just need to make sure, and certainly get with Matt with regards to those funds flowing through the town's books, because it is a town piece of property, right? So that we just need to make sure that if there's a donation that was for something, right? So, the donation comes through the town.
Right.
Okay, and gets expended.
Well, we did that with the money that we got from the Heritage Company.
Right.
Victor gave us the $2,500 specifically for Friendship Park. And
So-
I mean,
So we just need to be
right. But the money we
cognizant of
raised
that.
from the calendar has not come in here because we're using that towards this ship that we have purchased. So, but we raised that on our own money. That was privately done. through
So
donations.
just understand that once, if you're making physical changes to town property, we just need to make sure that all of the i's are dotted and all
Yeah.
of the t's are crossed, because insurance-wise and all of those kind of things, that has to flow correctly.
Right.
Okay? So I would just suggest that you get with Matt and Julie, if that's what you need to do, to just come in and have a session with, okay, how does this flow?
Okay.
Because
Do
we
we have
wouldn't,
an
I mean,
account?
we
And
wouldn't
there
have,
again,
Do we have an account?
Yes.
For-
there again, when that ship is brought in, it may get with these two, but it may take you paying the town and the town paying for the ship, so that it's actually owned by the town and not sitting, owned by a private. I don't wanna see you in a mess, liability wise. If you buy that, put it on, when somebody falls off it or something, who are they gonna sue? The town?
Well, who do they
or-
sue now if somebody falls off the dinosaur?
Well, the dinosaur is owned by the town of Waterboro. So,
so just,
this
we just-
building, while,
Right.
from a liability perspective, all I'm just cautioning everybody is that make sure that whatever gets purchased or gets installed, or whatever the case may be, that we have a chain of custody
Yep.
through the funding and the expenditures and whatnot. Not
Okay.
gonna cost any more.
Right.
Right? But the flow of money has to be correct so that our liability is protected.
cover
right?
you too.
Right, and it covers anybody else too.
The other thing that I would recommend is checking to see if those stumps can be ground rather than dug out, because when you get digging those big stumps up, you're gonna take an awful area. And cost-wise, it may be cheaper to grind them than it is to dig them.
Yeah, those trees are huge.
and you can just grind the top and seed over the top of them easier than, or gravel over the top of them.
Sure.
You know, might be cheaper. Might be quite a bit cheaper.
It's
Okay.
gonna look good.
So appreciate you coming in. If, give us a heads up,
Thank you.
if you want to get on the agenda in 2 weeks or
Sure.
a month from now,
Yep.
might be better because we'll get through the winter months and you'll be that much further ahead, so, okay?
I'll give these to you back, these are my copies, so you have copies.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't
That's
know that
okay.
you were.
Do you
Okay.
need this? I don't really need it.
Okay.
I mean, if you need a copy.
Sure, if you want to give it to Matt, I'll take my bag, thank you.
That was a flaw. Those are high finances.
All right, let's, anything else? You all set? Thank you. Correspondence, we have treasurer's reports and Senator Woodson's communications, reports and staff initiatives, selectmen's reports. Dwayne, anything?
I have very little. I just want to comment that I think the roads after this last storm were very well taken care of with the amount of wind and whatnot we had. I thought the crew did a good job.
Okay. David?
Dwayne spoke for me, because I definitely second that.
David?
I'm good.
Mike?
The only recommendation I have is that committee meetings start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
The what?
The Pledge of Allegiance. We have committee meetings that don't start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Some of these roads ain't even got a flag.
The planning board meets in here.
Oh, but yes, but a lot of when you start talking committees, a lot of them meet other than in here.
Or
Planning
board,
and
I guess.
ZBA is the only one that meets in here.
And the planning board too.
Well, we can take that certainly up with the chair of the planning board. Anything else? Matt?
Just a couple things, obviously, on the notes, you're aware of the former Public Works Director that has resigned and he has moved on. We have also made changes to Pete Cody's schedule. He'll be working Monday through Friday, 7 to 3. And he'll also be coming in on snow days to ensure the town hall is open and free of snow, so he'll be considered essential during the snowstorms. We did have a small staff meeting this week with customer service employees. We're going to try to have a small little meeting with the ladies that work in the front lobby to every couple of weeks just to touch base with them. Hopefully improve some communications. We originally, I know Chairman Abbott had asked about the selling or disposal of the old Trailblazer. So that was ready to go out to bid, so it's been stripped. And we'd actually posted on Maine Municipal, and Mike Gilpatrick had the pickup at the repair shop, and it's got extensive corrosion underneath. I pulled it off Maine Municipal because we may need to look at it, and rather than spending $3,000 again on that pickup truck, I think for what we're putting into some of the old trucks, it's, you know, we probably could have bought a new one for that price over the last couple of years. We keep on putting repair costs. So we took it off the bid, and we need to look at whether we're going to keep that and just have him drive that and get rid of the pickup truck.
When you say strip, we took the radios and the lights off.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. We took the lights and radios in the letter. So, yes.
What's that got for mileage?
Still has tires.
I think it's 90.
Yeah.
90, I don't, in that ballpark. It's a 2008. So.
It's got a few miles left.
That's the old Trailblazer, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's got some corrosion issues too. I don't think the corrosion is as bad as the pickup truck is. You probably did see there was a parking complaint that I think we all received by email this past week. I reached out to Public Works. I talked to Tommy about it. Signage right now may be a challenge to get into the ground, but he's going to look at it and see what we can do for some temporary signage on Route 5 to address the traffic concern that they had. I think I followed up with the email that she sent as well.
I would get a hold of MDOT in Scarborough and see if they ain't got the signs right in there. Because that is a state, in order to put new signs in, you gotta have dig safe. But there are posts up there that those signs can be put on, at least temporary. So, every steel sign that they drive into the ground, you gotta have dig safe unless there's a signpost already there.
Okay.
So I think that to get rid of, through this winter, if you've got 3 or 4 signs, that would take care of that whole problem up through that.
Okay.
And there's
I'll reach
something, you know,
Be a good project for Jason tomorrow.
yeah, well, no,
Okay.
yeah. I'm sure that they've got them in Scarborough.
Okay.
I'm speaking out of turn, but,
Well, we'll reach out to him and see what we can do.
Yeah.
So, I passed out to you just a FYI purposes, just a new flow. We're struggling with some spaces still, and it's a little bit more fluid. Worked with Dave Lowe, and he's helped with the graphics at least. But
It seems functional.
I think it will work. You'll have front facing for everybody at the windows, but it actually kind of goes back to what it was. I think it was originally created back when it was built. Looking at it, so okay.
Yep.
Any questions? No. I think I mentioned to you earlier, but just so everybody knows, we had a vacancy at the fire station. One of our firefighter EMTs has been hired by the town of Kennebunk and has moved on, or will be moving on. We had early notification of that, so we anticipated. We put the applications out, or the posting out, and it actually closed Wednesday. We've got four candidates that have applied, and Deputy Chief Bennett has scheduled interviews that will be with, I think, actually 2 weeks, or a week and a half. So we'll have interviews. We are not doing the physical agility test on this round because we've had several of them that were already in it before for the physical agility, and they're all current employees of ours. Yeah, that's all I got. Nope, sorry, one more. Southern Maine Plan I did send to you guys as well, for you to look over an MOU, or another agreement with Southern Maine Planning and Development for contract for the town planner for the interim, if they want to do something with it.
So that pays Lee J, basically.
Correct.
Right.
The current agreement expired back in June, so it makes sense to have an updated one until we do something with that position.
Okay. Any questions?
I'd like to make a motion or comment that the Public Works Director position be advertised, and also we have a second position that never got filled as far as a highway worker, I will say. So the two of them be advertised and see if we can get candidates for both positions.
And they'll be posted until the 28th of February,
Yeah.
correct?
But I'll make that a motion if you want.
Yeah, that's fine with me. If that's
Second.
acceptable. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? So we will advertise for the Public Works Director as well as the unfilled third.
That's the operator labor position.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Next, moving into new business, discuss vote to accept the federal holiday Juneteenth as a paid holiday for town employees. Back last year, I believe it was in June, the Congress and, or the legislature and the, Congress, House of Representatives and the Senate passed to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. It was signed by President Biden, I believe, somewhere in the June 14th or 15th or whatever. So it is now a federal holiday, which means state government and banks and all of that stuff will be closed. So what is your impression of adding this to our holiday list?
I will make a motion that we follow through in making this a paid holiday for the town employees.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that, which is the discussion here. It falls on June 19th on a Sunday this year. So does that mean they have the Monday off?
Yeah.
So
Or
it probably does mean that it will be a Monday.
does it have to be, yeah,
Huh?
yeah, it'll be the Monday probably.
So we did get some information for you for other communities nearby that have adopted that. The following communities have adopted it: Rundle, Biddeford, Buxton, and Hollis did not because they're not even open on Mondays. Kennebunk, Lyman, Saco, Sanford have already adopted nearby.
Thanks for getting that stuff.
So just so you know.
It's helpful.
Yeah, and certainly the state will recognize the federal holiday and they'll shut everything down on that day.
And we would add that to the sections. It's also in the notes that we'll get to in a few minutes for the personnel policy.
I think that was in MMA's last
Right.
newsletter that it was going to be a state holiday.
So, any further discussion?
I have some discussion. I can't support that considering what we've just done for the town using the opera money. I think we should let this one ride. And that's what I'm at.
Okay. Any other discussion?
What is it actually, why did they come up with this?
Well,
It's Abolition Day. So it celebrates the day that federal troops landed in Texas and literally made the demand, the proclamation, that slaves are free, on the order of Abraham Lincoln.
that pretty much covers it, right?
The teachers and
Good job.
He's teaching history tomorrow.
That's right. He's
I don't
already taught that in his
teach
class.
history. They don't let you have an opinion, so.
Great.
Any other discussion? And sensing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 3-2. All right, let's move on to discuss vote to accept a resignation of a member of the planning board, term to expire on June 30th of this year, and this would be from Devin Chamberlain.
Make a motion to accept the resignation of Devin and, yeah.
Okay? Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you, Devin, for your service.
Does that mean we're
Can we-
one short on the planning
I
board?
think we are
We're
too short now.
Too short, so
Maybe blast that out or something.
we really need
Looking
to
for volunteers.
maybe post that on our website that we're
Facebook.
looking for two planning board members.
Can we put
Dave,
that,
Mr. Lowe, you doing TikToks now for us, or? Doing TikToks for us?
They sound dangerous.
Okay, they are.
All right, anything else? Sensing none, let's go to item C. Discuss vote on the proposed changes to personnel policy. You have in your hot little hands this agenda item 9C, and it does the clarification of part-time. I guess you can explain it better than I.
All right, so you all have agenda item 9C in front of you. On the top section, section 2.5, employee classification, where it talks about continuous part-time. I guess I can read it, but an employee in this classification works more than 20 hours and less than 40 hours a work week, but on a continuing 52-week basis. The next sentence here, continuous part-time employees are subject to all personnel policies and rules and are entitled to a prorated share of health, dental, vacation, holiday, and sick leave benefits, period. That's great, okay. Well, that's clear in section C there. Go down to the next paragraph where it says section 8.4, and in here it talks about the insurance benefits, medical, the town participates in Maine Municipal Employees Health Trust, equal better plans, yada, yada, yada. And where it says only full-time employees who work 32 hours or more per week continuously all year long are eligible for health insurance benefits or monthly reimbursements if covered by health insurance. So, section 2.5 and 8.4 are in conflict. So, I guess, just my 2 cents, my opinion would be is in 8.4, we strike the line only full-time employees, get rid of that, and we define it in the employee classification section. So we don't have duplicate areas throughout the whole policy. Or you can leave it there, we just have to make sure everything else is lined up still.
Do we have employees who have worked more than 20 hours continuously
So right
and
now,
have come back to get the benefits?
So right now we have currently Georgia Hall, which is on it, which has been on for a couple months now. We have two others, as the question came, at Public Works, both at Public Works, correct? No,
Transfer station.
Transfer station, Public Works, whatever.
Yeah,
Same
thing.
Yeah.
same complex, but
I brought it to his attention because of the fact of this and doing the budget.
so we got those two employees at Transfer Station.
They work 27 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. The one that's presently given it works 21 and a half hours a week.
What's your pleasure, folks?
Have we done any is the 20 hours, is that our own policy?
That's
or
us.
That's us.
And it is prorated.
Right, and we just finished the personnel policy and signed off on a new policy last year, and we missed this, so let's fix it. We're done with this.
That's what I was.
So if they work 20 hours for the whole year, 20 hours a week, they're not on the health insurance. So what's the fix when they come to us and say, oh, I worked 20 hours a week and I didn't get health insurance? Are we cutting them a check
No.
for,
It,
no?
may I?
I didn't hear the question. I couldn't hear you.
So if they work 20 hours a week and for 52 weeks or whatever, they come to us and say, I'd work this, I should get health insurance. Is it health insurance for them for the next full year? Or is it a check that we give them do we prorate them? Do we give them
Yeah, I don't think we're back paying that period.
that health insurance?
And correct me if I'm wrong, but if we have an employee come in today and we know they're continuous part-time at 20 hours a week and we know what the position is, we're going to fill out the payroll form, or whoever's going to fill out the payroll form and identify that this is a continuous part-time employee moving forward. And in our checks and our list of things, you're eligible for a benefit based on the personnel policy of a prorated share of this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's just, it doesn't help in the event that you have somebody who works 20 hours a week and looks back in time.
Right.
Well, it would only be until the personnel policy, because this changed when you guys made adjustments back, well, I don't have
A year ago.
I think it was June of 21, right?
June
Yeah, seems
15th.
about right,
Yeah.
It says that in the policy.
But it was.
So, we just need to fix it, right?
You either need to leave it in part-time or make it
Right.
32.
So what's your preference?
And you have one person that's on it currently.
I would take 20 hours, because that is a part-time job, full-time, part-time.
So what we would be taking out of the 8.4 section would be only full-time employees work 32 hours a week per week or more continuously?
If you delete that section, then and you want to keep the other one, you just keep the other one.
One way or the other, we just need to clarify it, so if you, if you want to include them, then we need to fix,
If you do include a 20-hour-a-week employee for benefits, that whole paycheck's gonna go into the other half of the benefits. You know,
Essentially.
I mean, it's a no-brainer, but it is offered to them.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, but that's their choice.
That's
to
their
do
choice, I
whatever,
mean,
right? So, yeah, that's what I would.
I like your definition, but I wasn't here when you guys did this, but the definition of continuous part-time it's a nice definition, actually.
So let's leave it, and straight.
yeah, Dave came over.
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. Came up with- It's a good,
So let's leave it. Right.
I was just thinking 24 hours though, but we have it at 20. Okay, yeah, whatever.
I would leave it at the 20 and just, if it was me.
Who's motion?
Yours,
No motion, no, somebody's gotta make a motion. We strike it out of,
Strike it out of 8-4
8-4.
and leave it in 2-5.
Do I have a second to that?
no, second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
Effective as of tonight.
I guess, yeah. It's been approved tonight, so. Okay. Leads me to old business. We still have Spirit of America nominees to do. There was some chat about Dwayne and Nate, right?
Well, Dwayne will put in with the town dedication town report with Sharon.
Right,
You both-
but then we talked about
The pair of them can
Spirit
be-
of America having
both of them could
the father,
be
son.
part of the Spirit of America. That was my,
When does that due? What was it? It's coming up, isn't it?
February 28th.
Yeah. So it would be the two McCoys, basically.
I'll make that a motion.
For the Spirit of America.
Spirit
Yeah.
of America. the
Second.
Father and son.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
We're even gonna have just those two. I mean, we can have more. I mean, we could nominate
Anyway, right.
up to 6 or so. So, I mean, if there's somebody else
Bob
in the
Goviel.
next week, I was gonna say Bob Goviel is, well, he passed in this year. We're
Oh,
looking
so
at
is it-
last
that's
year.
last year.
So, I mean,
Next year we could consider.
Yeah.
it,
What's the names, McCoys? Dwayne and
Dwayne
Nathan. Nathan.
Believe Nathan, yeah.
All right. Any discussion on any additional changes to APRA? We've had that discussion, right? So, but I do think that we should really kind of, and maybe as you get squared away with Public Works here, that some of that money that's going to come in might not be what we have today, but what will be coming for infrastructure changes. We need to identify those projects that we would identify for infrastructure changes, one of which is the work that has to be done on the culvert on Jellison Road comes to mind, because that was like $125,000.
There's another grant that's
Well,
out there right now too. It
there's-
was just posted.
I'm wondering about state aid roads too. I mean, we've got two major structures on a state aid road and one on a state road. Someday we're gonna end up with that
Yeah,
looking like what Pennsylvania's got out there.
yeah. Okay, the one,
So I
talking
don't
about
know if we could take some of that money to help push the state to to do something, I don't know.
Where are you at?
Yeah,
At,
Or West Road,
West Road,
right at the bridge.
West Road and
By Howard's?
Federal Street.
Okay, by
That
Howard's.
structure
Yeah.
is questionable. And the other one is 202 down by the day field. And I tell you what, I will not go inside that. Even when I was working and had all the safety gear, that is one scary structure there. Someday there's gonna be a tractor trailer down in the middle of that.
So do you think the state might match us?
Oh, well, I
or-
don't know. The state has got that as a working project, but it's been in the works for 4 years, so but it is a,
But we identified some stuff locally, right? One was the culvert on the Jellison Road,
Right.
right? Which was significant. So those are opportunities for us to start looking at.
There's two, and I don't know if the culverts, but FEMA resilience and hazard mitigation planning. There's some dollars in here. They're both posted on Maine Municipal's front page of their, as of January 24th and January 26th, another one. Maine Community Foundation accepting community building grant proposals as well. So there's a couple different
But
options there.
that might be a workshop that we have
Yeah, but
with Jason, Tommy, and
this
everybody.
Jellison Road, I don't know, they was talking grants and whatnot, but this ought to be put out to bid right ASAP.
Yeah.
Because that can only be done certain parts of the season, and we need to get that done this coming year.
You
And,
can't shut down
can't shut it
flow
down, and
of
you
traffic.
can't, gonna have to pump water from one side of the road to the other.
We've been kicking this one around
And
for a while.
gonna
too,
have
so-
to
There was a
put
grant.
half of it in at a time, and it's more, I believe it's more work than we can do. As-
Locally,
Yeah,
yeah, I would agree.
yeah. I mean, we
Oh,
can get
yeah.
down and finish it up with what equipment we've got, but to go in and set that culvert,
And it
they
can't
was
be,
talking a concrete culvert, which is gonna be bolted in. I mean, it's more work than anybody here's done.
and it doesn't have a bottom in it,
No.
because you can't let the fish bellies run
Yeah.
on the cement.
Without putting fish piers and all that into, and it's quite a bunch of, and I think the permits had been started, but we gotta check to see what was ever done.
Okay.
That was in Pete's hands, I believe.
There was a grant that we was gonna apply for also.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't, as we work through the budget committee stuff, that'll have to be, or could be addressed, but,
Jellison.
yeah.
I think there's some money in that budget this year to be
To
able
do
to
the
get it
engineering.
started. Yeah, but,
Was to do the engineering.
yeah. But we need all the permits before
Yeah,
this coming year, and it needs to be done AS.
and if you look at the rest of that road,
Right.
all you gotta do is look down in the cracks in the road, because that was all logs.
Yeah,
That's how they built that road across the swamp. So,
when you get digging in there, you can pull up hardwood out of the pavement.
anyway. All right, let's move on. Other discuss vote to approve the minutes of the January 4th and 18th meetings.
So
Yeah.
moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Is it
Pennies.
too late to add something to the agenda?
Kinda now.
Okay, we'll put it on next week.
All right. What do you want?
I want discussion on administrative pay, because we've gone so long
Oh, okay.
with Matt, and I'm not gonna mention your name, but,
Okay,
I think we need to discuss the,
we'll set that in motion.
wages.
We need to understand what the
Yeah,
cost is associated with.
yeah.
Is that gonna be an executive session or?
No.
Okay.
So you're all set with what we've got to do this week, action items, any other discussion of agenda items? We will have to set up that executive committee, exec session with the lawyer, legal, right?
In the hearing following.
Well, we're gonna have 2 hearings, right? So I would do the first public hearing for the consent agreement first, and then we'll do the one for the parks ordinance
Okay.
immediately following.
We was also gonna do something about the Bennett Hill Road that same meeting, right?
Yeah, we were.
We got the mud season's coming.
Right. So we was gonna have a public hearing on that too,
On what?
on the Bennett Hill Road.
Yeah, the problem is we probably missed the opportunity on the Bennett Hill Road because the state law specifically says public hearing has to take place
In October,
in October.
so we can't do anything with
We can close it for mud season.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that
Yeah.
we'll make a determination, right?
Yeah.
Anything else? Sensing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you and good night.